Yes, yes, yes. Bless up, people. It is I, Crisis, aka Blind Visionary, aka The Conduit, coming at you with another blind review. This time I'm going to be talking about Long Island MC Coast LoCastro and his collaborative effort with producer Nohokai. Album title Nohokai. Now, off the bat, this is different yet very familiar. Is that a good thing? Depends on you, the listener. To me, it is. Because, I like classic golden era traditionalist hip hop that I grew up on, but at the same time, I'm not stuck in a bubble. So it's good to hear artists who can walk that thin line with doing something that's current while staying true to the core essence that most of us who listen to underground hip hop, you know, treasure and appreciate and gravitate towards. And Coast is what I'd like to call a prime shit talker. And I mean shit talker in a good way in terms of I know who I am, I know what I can do, and I'm damn good at what I do, and you are going to bear witness to it. And I can also tell that based on the constant aggression in this dude's voice, all throughout, not just this release, but all throughout just the way he delivers his bars in general, you can tell that clearly hip hop is this dude's outlet. Like whatever he has going on in life that drives him up the wall and makes him want to like funnel somebody's face into a wall, he channels all of that into his music. And I think that's healthy. And I think more people should have a healthy outlet like this. You know, you're not harming anybody. The only people you're harming are the people who wish that they could be this and they can't. And he makes that very apparent throughout this release. I am me, you are not, and you will never be me. Point blank, plain and simple. That's a common theme throughout the shit talking that makes up, the majority of the subject matter on this album. And it's done in a way that only somebody from Long Island can do. Like all the five boroughs have their distinguished way of shit talking. New Yorkers in general shit talk, but every borough is different, and you can kind of tell where somebody is from by when they start to go into that mode. Well, that's considering they have the ability to. Because the thing about that shit talking is you have to be able to back it. So, this is clearly an authentic person coming from his authentic self. And whereas certain people might say, oh, okay, this dude is a one trick pony. It's like, okay, know who you are and be that to the best of your ability. And that's what he's doing. I wouldn't want to hear him doing double time raps, rapping over trap beats, being somebody who he's not. This is who he's comfortable with being. So yeah, take it or leave it. Like it or don't. There are people who like it, and I happen to be one of them. So as far as the production now, No Hokai is somebody who I've never heard of before this project. But I'm definitely gonna keep an ear out for him because like he has familiarity but non-familiarity at the same time in terms of regionally, I can't tell where he's from. Like this is boom bap, but it has a West Coast flair. It just has all over the place, but very musical and cinematic and epic feel throughout. And it complements what Coast is doing. And Coast actually picks beats that he knows works with what he's saying and how he's saying it. So that's not something that a lot of rappers can do. I mean, I always appreciate when I know like an MC has a good ear for beats because I know, okay, when I listen to their project, it's gonna have a level of consistency beat wise. So kudos to Nohokai. Like he manages to be clean and polished without being corny and over polished and all shiny and watered down. Like Dr. Dre and Just Blaze are two names that come to mind when I think of producers who can actually do that. And you notice I said producers, not beat makers, because there is a huge difference. Nohokai is obviously a producer who has some sort of musical background, because otherwise you wouldn't have the ear to program and play the musical palette that is presented here on this album. And for the most part, it's one of these albums where, besides one little surprise where I was like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming, no pun intended, you know what you're getting. It's like you go to a deli, you buy a meatball sub, you know what you're getting inside a meatball sub. Like, you can't expect things that aren't in a meatball sub to be in a meatball sub if you bought a meatball sub. Get what I'm saying? And that's the case for the album. So for the most part, for the huge most part, for the majority most part, both the MC and the producer did their thing. So now we get to the part of the review where I break down the album track by track. We start off with the intro, and surprisingly, unexpectedly, we hear Nohokai rapping. Yes, folks, Nohokai is not just a producer, he apparently also rhymes. There's some pretty decent bars for the intro, and the beat kind of lets you know sonically exactly what I'm talking about, where it's that familiar, non-familiar, boom bap, layered, airy, cinematic feel that's going to be a common theme throughout this entire album. So after this short intro with Mr. Nohokai rhyming, we get into the main brunt of this project, which is the first track, which is called No Offense. And of course, when somebody said no offense, you know what that means. Them about to say some offensive stuff. And of course, Coast definitely delivers on that. And this is like a prime example out the gate of the aggressive, confident shit talking that he's doing. And before I forget, I'd like to point out one very key thing about this dude, Coast. He has a knack for writing horror choruses. Maybe like writing horror still. I mean, he does. I've heard him talk about it. He's married though, but that's neither here nor there. I digress. He really knows how to do what a lot of people in the underground don't know how to do, which is write choruses. Very good choruses. So just some little advice to some of you people. You might want to either up your chorus game or get in his inbox and hire him to write some for you, because as I've stated before, a dope beat and dope rhymes a song does not make. Choruses are very important, and obviously Coast knows that. So yeah, right out the gate, no offense, shit talking 101, great beat to start off with. And then we get into one of the only subject matter related songs on the album, which is Bubbles. And Bubbles is what I would like to call a pep talk for grown men who need it and who aren't stubborn enough to ignore it. Because at some point, we all get into this type of situation where we create a story, we believe that story, we amplify that story, and then that story becomes our reality. Because we basically speak the thoughts that were negative and self-doubting into fruition. And that's very common, very unhealthy, and very dangerous. And this is basically a pep talk to get you out of that and to get you out of the bubbles. Yeah, pop the bubble. Don't stay inside the bubble. The bubble is going to limit you. And that's done very well. It's not preachy. It's, look, bro, I get it. Get out of your shit. Move on. Burst the bubble. Expand your horizon. And Live your life the way it's supposed to be. Stop getting in your own way. So that's what I got from Bubbles. Great song, highly recommended as far as just if you need that kind of brain food, this will definitely fulfill that need, and your appetite will be very, very satisfied. Now, next track is Killing Time. Second song with substance on this album. And it's a story of him leaving JFK, heading to LAX, spotting this nice girl on his flight, talking up to her after he got off the flight. Them both ended up hanging out, and at some point he's about to hook up with her, only to find out she flips and she's like most women in LA, crazy. And she's like, you can't touch me, where's your vax? You need to have a vaccination, like where's your vax card? And like completely freaks out. And like, I can actually see that happening in this world. Like, yeah, where the line between reality and satire, like satire is completely non-existent. I completely see some weird ass Karen doing something like that. So great song, and I wish there was more, because dude has a dark sense of humor, and I like dark sense of humor type stuff. So kudos to this dude for providing this, and I hope to hear more like this in the future. So then we'll move on to track 5, Cry Later. The song I would like to describe as the gym song. This song just gives off the vibe and aesthetic of doing reps in the gym and sonically giving you the push to go a little bit extra harder. And for the most part, this is not the only song that does that. The whole palette of this album that it is painted on is just, like I said before, raw aggression being channeled through the outlet of hip hop. So if you want to get motivated to do good stuff or bad stuff, I won't judge, but like it is music that puts a battery in your back, and this song right here is a prime example of that. So yeah, you might want to throw this on when you're in the gym working out. It will help, I guarantee. All right, so moving on to track 6, The Right Mix. This song is a mixture of affirmations. It's like almost like what I'd like to call an audio vision board, meaning, they tell you have like a vision board of things you strive towards having by putting up, like if you want a nice house, put up the picture of the house, put up picture of the nice car, the things like that, wish it into reality by constantly thinking about it. So like this is what he's doing through that song, or through this song, sorry, where he's basically saying, I envision all these things for myself, for my family. And then it gets to the chorus where it's like, I'm basically either determined or crazy or both. And it's kind of going along with the tune of he's the right mix of being confident as hell and completely insane, which I think you need. Like, if you're completely confident and you're delusional and you really don't have any direction, that can be dangerous. Likewise, if you're insane but you pretty much don't have any confidence, you're dangerous to yourself and you're dangerous to the people around you. But if you have the right combination, and like the song says, the right mix, God help us all. And like this is what this song is entailing, over a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Grimy, but motivating and inspiring piece of production from Mr. Nohokai. So yeah, I mean, straight motivation throughout this. It's a theme, whether it's motivating you to punch somebody in the face, motivating you to get money, motivating you to rap as good as this guy. It's just like motivational music all around. So then we get to the seventh track, Fat Kid. featuring Tone Spliff on the cuts at the end. Now this is back to the familiar place of shit talking that Mr. Coast is so comfortable in. And he's basically stating to you that, look, I'm a fat kid, but I'm an awesome fat kid. I'm a fat kid you don't want to mess around with. When you really think of, like, when you think of the term fat kid, you think negative. And besides people like Biggie and Pun, like, he carries on the lineage of saying, if you gonna deal with a fat kid, I'm gonna be the dopest fat kid you ever come across, and you actually gonna like being around me so much to the point where you actually wish you were fat like me. Now that's an accomplishment. And that's an indication of somebody, you know, turning what could be a shortcoming into a positivity. So kudos to him. Great beat, and Tone Spliff does his thing on the cuts as usual. You know, Tone Spliff is Tone Spliff, and Tone Spliff will always be Tone Spliff. So big up to Tone Spliff as usual. Anyway, now track 8, Scream. This is what I would like to call the turn up, if it was turned all the way up, as far as aggression and just pure rawness and attacking this, what sounds like a West Coast cruising down the 101 when there's no traffic, smoking at a nice big L type vibe. But the words don't match the vibe. The words are super aggressive, super angry, super in your face, and God help whoever I'm talking about. That person is probably not with us anymore, you know, because yeah, I'd probably want to jump off a bridge like him saying the song. But anyway, this is, I would say, the height of the aggression. This is when the aggression reaches its peak and it goes into overdrive, and it's just raw, and like, I wouldn't even say this is another gym song, because like, you'd probably mash up the equipment the way this song would make you go hard in the gym. So yeah, don't put this on in the gym. Put this on before you go beat somebody up though. Just saying. Anyway, 9, track 9, Who TF. And this is, okay. This song, there's nothing wrong with this song. From a technical standpoint, from a rhyme standpoint, from a sonic standpoint. Problem is that in my mind, I've heard, it's just too familiar. It's beat-wise, like I've heard too many beats that sound like this. And in a way, when something is good, if there's too much of it, it takes away from it sometimes. So, in my opinion, this is probably the only subpar song on the album, but it's still not a bad song, and it's still my opinion. Everybody else who hears this will probably like it and not have a problem with it, because it's well produced and it has a very eerie vibe and very layered production. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just, in my personal opinion, felt like it was probably a semi-weak link in what is otherwise a strong chain as far as how this album plays out. But then, ironically, we get to my favorite song, track 10. Now, God has a seriously funny sense of humor to cause a blind man's favorite song to be a song called Witness. But yeah, this is second favorite song subject-wise, first favorite song beat-wise. Like, this beat is ridiculous all throughout the board. Like, I don't have nothing bad to say about this beat. This beat is top tier and then some. And like, subject matter wise, Coast is talking about his spirituality, his belief in a higher power. Like, he wasn't specific with any kind of faith, but he did acknowledge that he believes in a higher power. That is his belief. That is what drives him. That is what gives him the talent that he has. And he's like, talking to himself and saying, you know, I have conflict with using this, but I can't ever have that conflict because this is a gift that the higher power has given to me. And if he believes in me, then I must believe in me. And in return, I believe in him. You know, again, not preachy, not preachy at all. So I can greatly, greatly appreciate what was said and where he's coming from. So again, favorite beat on the album, dope song. So we'll get on to track 11, which is Down Bad, which is basically one of those songs that you're in the trenches. You know, things not going good. You have to kind of climb your way back out of the hole that either somebody dug you in or you dug yourself in. You know, it ain't all sweet. I have to do what I have to do. Nothing around me is positive, but I'm trying to do something about it. And yeah, for the most part, this is just what I would say a Grimeyville song, like just dwelling in when life becomes nothing sweet, but you have to deal with it. So then we get to the final track, track 12, the outro. And it's the icing on the cake. It's basically the swan song for this album anyway. You know, the whole goodbye, thank you for coming out thing that Russell Simmons do at the end of Def Comedy Jam, but in the form of an intro with Coast dropping one verse, which just saying, yeah, I'm gone, but you gonna remember me. And I ain't gone for very long. I'll be back. There's a lot more of this to come, so stay tuned. So yeah, overall, this is a very, very solid project. It won't appeal to everybody, but if you like a particular type of hip hop, which is, you know, East Coast, boom bap, bars, confident, shit talking with a few concepts sprinkled here and there type stuff, then I highly recommend this because you'll like this. And for the first time in reviews going forward, I'm going to introduce a rating system. Now, in true blind man fashion, my rating system is going to involve canes. 1 to 5 canes. Now, anything below 3 canes is below average / subpar. Anything at 3 canes or above is above decent, worth checking out, really, really worth checking out. And if it get 5 canes, hip hop classic, definitely check it out or something wrong with you. In this particular case, I will give this album 3.75 canes. Go check it out when you have a chance. Go check out Coast catalog. Look out for Nohokai, dope producer. Go check out whatever he has going on. I know I'm going to after listening to this. Hope you guys got something from this. Big up to Coast. You don't know. Respect. This has been another blind review. I have spoken. Oh shit. Where the fuck? Oh, damn it.